Hello, everybody. I hope you are all doing very, very well this week. Just getting set up out here to do some more turning and some two beats after taking a little bit of a dive with flowers. One of the reasons I really like flowers is that there are these things that you can really feel accomplished with very quickly. So I find a lot of people really are like, okay, but what can I do that's awesome? So I kind of throw flowers out there, probably a little earlier than I always should. But I really like them. I think you can feel very good about them very quickly. And I hope everyone enjoyed that little journey. But this week we're going to get back to a little more of the fundamentals, which hits a different part of kind of the awesomeness of koi. Sometimes it's really cool to get something that looks really awesome, and then sometimes it's really good to drill down in on those fundamentals and then get these deeper understandings that can be so cool. So anyways, one of the things I really like, you guys are probably starting to get used to this, is warming up, talking about timing and direction, because these are really fundamental movements and they're a really, really good way to warm up. So take both of your hands, move them in together, time, same direction. And it's just a really nice way that we're in the wall plane right now. It's really great to just remind yourself of these. And hey, can I have someone make a comment? I see there are already like 8 or 10 people here. I wasn't seeing comments last week. I might not this week. I'll have to figure out. Maybe it's my browser. Anyways, so yeah, it's really good to just move back and forth, sway, use your body, use your knees, get back and forth. And one of the things that, I'm always like, oh, this is like lifting something from one stack and putting it onto another stack. Or if we switch to together opposite, which is butterfly in the wheel plane. Actually, let's do split same in the wheel plane. That's kind of like swimming. I keep bringing up all these different metaphors for these different movements. And you want to turn your trunk and get your arms spread and really get some extension and warm up nicely. But all these different movements, all these different timings and directions, they end up with so many different metaphors for movements that we do in the rest of our lives. And I think that's part of the reason why this is so expressive and why it's so interesting, is you can realize, hey, I'm doing, split same right now. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And it really connects with your movement with your props as well. So then if we do something really similar to that, but we do together opposite, kind of in that same wheel plane, spread your arms apart, lift them up, spread them to the other side, and then to the bottom. And if we do that, we're really giving our shoulders kind of a good start, and then go backwards. Don't overdo it. Don't overextend. I know I was reaching a bit. But, this is a really good way to warm up because there are so many motions. Split opposite, which is the double Dutch in the wall plane. If you want to hop into that. And actually, if you want to get back into butterfly, then do kind of a mountain pose and bring it down. Mountain pose and bring it down. And if you want to take that into the floor plane, you do breaststroke if you're swimming. That is together opposite in the floor plane, right? And then we did a little bit of double Dutch for split opposite. So yeah, and then do both directions. Don't warm up in one way and not the other way. So it's good to have balance. So the last few episodes, like I mentioned, we were doing spin and anti-spin flowers. It really drives home timing and direction. You can feel accomplished, all that sort of stuff. But now back to more turning, because this stuff is so useful in so many ways. So I wanted to dive back, teach you guys a little bit about two beats, because they're very relevant to turns and stylized turns. And then we can work on those turns. And then we're going to go forward next week and do some buzz saws, which are kind of in this plane right here. And really, they're going to have a lot to do with what we're doing today, kind of in miniature. And they're really cute and all that sort of stuff. And they're not done enough, because they kind of certain buzzsaw moves were popularized in different sorts of ways. And people, I think, are kind of afraid of them now, and they're fantastic and wonderful, and throw them in, and they're exciting and expressive. So anyways, first off, with the beats. So you guys already know a one beat. A one beat is when you're spinning a poi in a circle. It's kind of like, boom, 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 one, one, one. The pattern literally has one beat for each cycle. Now, for context, a two beat is something that has two beats. You have to do two circles to complete the pattern. 1, 2, 1, 2. If you go 1, 1, I mean, I guess you could count it 1, 1, but really you're not completing the pattern until you come back. So 1, 2, 1, 2. It's a two beat pattern. For more context, we're not going to do these quite yet, but a 3-beat weave ends up being 3 beats. 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then you can get into 4-beat weaves, which you can't do as a single person. You have to do it as a partner, because it has to do with joining your 2-beat with someone else's 2-beat. You can do 5-beat weaves by wrapping around your wrist in different sorts of ways. So anyways, those are the beats. We're going to focus on 2 beats, which is essentially, if I turn and face you, it's kind of like a little bit of sword fighting. It's kind of what people immediately, they're like on guard, and they're, check this out. That's a 2-beat. 1 circle in front, cross with an X, 1 circle in back. You're like, I think Zero did a Z. You're X Oro, where you just do cross, cross, cross. So to work into it, start off slowly. You're used to getting a wall plane, spin softly in the wall plane. I have my right hand facing you, and I am spinning clockwise. And basically, what you want to do is you want to bring it up to the top, and then instead of letting it fall over on the same side, just gently, with a light flick of the wrist, let it fall over on the other side, and keep spinning. And then bring it back. It should feel pretty intuitive, right? Where you spin on one side, spin on the other, and this is a very light flick of the wrist. I hope you can see that this is, it's basically kind of like almost feels like you're putting your hand out the window and letting it go in the breeze a little bit back and forth. It's a little infinity, circle on one side, circle on the other. Do it very lightly, then make sure to reverse it. So you're doing an upstroke X, not just downstroke X. So this is kind of like if you're doing a volley versus a spike. The other way, you're kind of sending the energy downward. This way, you're sending the energy back upward. That's going to be very relevant to what we're doing today, doing both of these in both hands. So with that, let's do both of these in both hands. So start off with your left hand. I'm spinning counterclockwise now. My brain always does a little extra processing when I'm thinking clockwise and counterclockwise, and I kind of see the hands, and I'm like, is this a David Lynch movie or is this real life? So just do a little circle on one side, let your wrist flip lightly, not too fast, and feel yourself holding your planes appropriately. And then just kind of go back, draw that little downward X in front of you. On guard. And then make sure to go the other direction and do it upwards. Feels kind of like playing tennis there. Good? Can't see any comments, so I don't know how to send a signal right now. Okay, so we did that. So that crossing point is really, really, really important. So if we take, let's stay with 1, because I'm going to turn that into something a little bigger. So if you have this, and I'll turn this way so you can see me, but I'm still, I guess I'm in the wall plane, but I'm doing this 2 beat off to the side. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to take a pendulum and go back into a reverse 2 beat, and then a pendulum and reverse 2 beat. And I can actually bring that up over the top and do a 2 beat, and over the top and 2 beat. And then if I pendulum, actually if I approach it from the top and I'm doing a downstroke, then I can go into a circle. So basically it's a pendulum to over the top and a 2 beat. Pendulum to over the top and 2 beat. So you've realized when you pause and you restart it in the other direction that you can get into a circle off of a 2 beat very easily. So you can use that circle as a joining spot and turn and do that on the other side. And instead of turning, what I am going to do now is face you. I have this circle in the front. I do a 2 beat off to the side, right here, and then cross over my body. And do a 2 beat on this side. And circle and back. Circle, back. So you realize you can join them at the bottom if you're going into an upstroke, and at the top if you're going into a downstroke. And if you're leaving a downstroke, you go turn across the bottom. So it's really like that turning that we were doing the first week. You paint a line along the bottom, you trace a rainbow at the top. Okay? You paint a line around the bottom, you carry that sign, back over. But you can really just stand in place and change from wall plane to wheel plane to wall plane in one movement. Okay? So do that with the other hand. So with your left hand, you can do the crossing. And then, so practice that, because as you reach across the top, come along the bottom, reach across the top. And you might want to just spend time doing that 2 beat here and coming to a circle and back to that same 2 beat, just to drill moving in and out. But reverse, stall and reverse so you get to go both directions. And as you get used to it in both directions, what we're going to do now is we're going to take your right hand, or let's just in front of you, spin. And what we're going to do is your right hand is going to come across to this side, right? So you're not crossing with your left hand. With your right hand is going to come across your body. So I'm spinning clockwise. My right hand will flip across to this side, and I'll come to the center. And then my left hand will do a 2 beat and flip across to the left side. So my feet aren't moving right now. I'm just changing my orientation. Right side, center, left side. Now I can move my feet, but really the orientation of the poi, that's just a foot orientation. I'm hitting those different planes. Oops, threw in a little hint for the future there. So you can go from wall plane to wheel plane to wall plane to other wall plane to wheel plane, other wheel. And then make sure to do it in the other direction. So if you're going counterclockwise, you'll go to your left and center. And just practice that left, center. So you're doing the 2 beat with the left hand there. You're crossing your body with the left hand there. And then if you turn to the right, you cross your body to the right and back, and to the right and back. Okay, so what you can end up doing is turning back and forth. And you're going over the top and under the bottom. And you can pause, go top and be kind of amazed, and to the bottom. Okay, so that's kind of what we did before anyways. So that's learning it kind of with a 2 beat. So if we're doing this in together or in split same, so we're doing split time, same direction. And basically we're just putting it together slightly differently, but only one hand will be crossing at a time. So here the right hand crosses, and then I bring the right hand back. And then the left hand crosses, and I bring the left hand back. And these are those same individual movements, they're just 180 degrees out of sync. And suddenly, the whole world has opened up, I hope, for everyone. Because once you can do this, you can turn 90 degrees, then you can turn 90 degrees, and you can turn 90 degrees, and all of a sudden, you can do a split time turn, and make sure to go the other direction as well. But like we've been talking about before, go to a place that you feel very comfortable and do a 90-degree turn. And right here, I'm only really changing, one hand is doing part of a 2 beat. And you can go back and forth. So basically I'm going from a wall plane to a wheel plane, but I'm doing it back and forth. So here, I'll show you this view. And then I can go to the other side and do that. Okay, so you can turn around in split same. Then together opposite, that is the butterfly. So one thing to remember is with butterfly, you feel the beats on the top and the bottom. So emphasize the up, down. Now I'm going to say for now, you should only turn 90 degrees. At some point, you can do a quick 180-degree turn. But for now, I think it's probably best, and this is in order to keep your planes, because if you get out of planes, you'll end up hitting yourself a lot. So for now, until you can really keep your planes, do a 90-degree turn. So, hello, keep your planes. And spin slowly. So for now, what I'm going to do is I'm doing a butterfly, and I'm going to move my left across in the very same movement. And then I'm doing basically this same butterfly. Keep that up-down movement going, because that forward-back movement is split up, right? We want together opposite. Where we go, you can kind of bounce up and down, okay? And then take one at a time, and then go into, so now I'm going into an underhanded butterfly. I come back, and I go. And so you can end up doing these, and you don't have to do them in the butterfly itself. So I'm going to go in the other direction a little bit. You can have them split apart. You don't have to have that center of rotation on each other You're not quite ready for that yet. So just practice all these turns back and forth. Now, to move to split up though, so that's when you're on the sides. And it's kind of funny. These can, because it's really about where you emphasize it, you can really go easily between these two just by throwing a little momentum into it. Okay? But, so that's, in many ways, it's wonderful to know. It's also easy to be like, I'm in split opposite and not pay attention for a second and be in together opposite. So, split opposite does really lend to a 90-degree turn. Because what's happening is these are crossing on the side. So you will get both your poi out at the side at one time. So if we do this without our poi really moving, but we're just moving our hands through this is really nice. Your poi are over to the side, kind of making room for you to turn. And you can turn 90 degrees very easily. You're 180 degrees very easily with these. Because your poi are really in line with your body and kind of getting out of your way. So with this, what I kind of like doing is just taking one foot. I guess I'll back up a little bit and show you my feet a little bit. So if I'm doing this and trying not to hit that little table there, I do this in this little alcove, so I'm forced to kind of do it in case people are watching at home inside. It keeps me honest about, like, you can extend. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go slowly because I'm spinning a little bit fast. And I can even just do pendulums where I'm having some momentum, but I'm not doing full circles. And both my arms come out to the side and I just pivot. Almost like you're pivoting with a basketball. One foot, and just let that momentum go. So when you're spinning with circles, you can, when they're out to the side, realize you're doing both of both of these are going to be out to the side at once. So you can just kind of, it really flows. It almost pulls you through it. And make sure you don't just spin one way. Make sure to spin the other way. Make sure to spin on the other foot. Okay, so getting back though to that 2-beat. We talked about the 2-beat earlier on, and it's very useful. You're using a 2-beat in each of those turns to cross your body, because one of the poi is crossing your body every 90 degrees that you're going. So to do these 2-beats though, you learned a 2-beat off to the side. One of my poi. So you learned a 2-beat off to the side. But you might be getting tired and you bring your 2-beat down and you realize, ooh, I'm doing a 2-beat by my hip. Or you could go out to the side and feel victorious and you start doing a 2-beat. Don't bring it in front of your face yet. But you realize, hey, I can bring this up. I can bring this down. And they have very different feelings once they cross kind of your midsection to them. And if you very carefully spin slowly, and remember that you're flopping your wrist gently, don't overdo it, you can bring this to your shoulder. And basically, rather than feeling like you're drawing an X when you're off to the side, you kind of get this feeling where you're just dropping a circle in front, dropping a circle in back, and let its own momentum take itself. Do it with the other hand too. Front, back. Try it out to the side, and then as you bring it, feel that front, back. Very gently, very light. Don't whack yourself in the face. Okay? Do it in both directions. So one of them feels like this kind of feels like you're waving a hat that you just took off. You took off your cowboy hat and you're saying, yeehaw, right? And then the other direction, it's like you're brushing your hair back. You can almost brush your hair back while you do it. or you can take off your hat and say yeehaw. So that's spinning with my forward momentum down versus spinning with my forward momentum up. So you do that with both hands, and then try that same thing at your hip. And you can really kind of sway with it a little bit, and then do that with your other hand, and then do it in the other direction. And you can kind of feel that, the little bit of, am I doing the upswing? Am I doing a downswing? And then take them both at the same time. Do together same in the front, in front of you in the wall plane. Actually, that might have been a jump too far forward for 1 second. So what we're going to do now is, now that you've done that, what we're going to do is we're going to go from right hand across, left hand across. And then we're going to sneak them behind our backs. So when you're coming up over the feeling, when you're coming up over the top, is kind of like you're dropping a sword down your back. So do that with one hand. And when you're coming from behind, it's kind of like you're going up to scratch your back a little bit, okay? When you're fully placing it behind you. So do that with both hands. So feel like you're placing it behind you. And basically go up to the side and up and out to the side, okay? We're kind of doing a pendulum now with a little 2-beat behind our back, okay? And then you can start doing a pendulum and do it behind your back, pendulum behind your back, pendulum behind your back. And you can see where we're going because, well, we're actually doing it. When you put 2 of them together like this, you are doing a behind the back turn. Now you have to be spinning downward. Because remember, when you spin downward, it's like you're drawing a line on the ground. So that is useful when you're doing the lower 2-beat movement. Now, when you're doing the upper 2-beat movement behind your back, take your hands out to the side, put 2 swords down your back. You're like Arnold Schwarzenegger in some sort of movie. And go back and forth. Where you're taking the swords out, putting them in and taking them out. And then what you're going to do now is you can start spinning off to this side and do it behind your back. And then you can do it all the way around. You can turn behind the back with a behind the back 2-beat turn in both lower and upper. So remember, when you're spinning upward, that turn is going to go above your head. So drop your swords, scratch your back. Drop your swords, scratch your back, and go in both directions. And you can now turn like styling people. And what you can also do is start putting them together like this. This is a basic body tracer where basically I'm going from behind the back below to behind the back above. Now, you can take time between those and slowly build up together. If you stall and change course, stall and change course, you start to get that feeling. And make sure that you do it to both sides. So it's nice to kind of run that same little channel back and forth, but make sure to do it to the right and the left, okay? And then you can just work it all together. And that's one of the beginning body tracers. You're in together time. And if you just stay at the bottom for a bit, this is a hip reel down when you have it on the bottom like this, and it's a shoulder reel when you stay at the top like this. And then you turn between the two. So we got some styling turns. Let me know if you've got any questions. I hope that didn't go too fast. Next time, we're going to be talking about buzz saws and specifically buzzsaw fountains, which without your body turning, you're going to be doing, it's almost like you've got this mini dollhouse of a turn going on. Everything's in miniature. And it really helps you to learn your planes really, really well. So I hope everyone is having a great week. I hope everyone's staying strong. I hope everyone is taking care of each other, wearing masks, being careful, looking out for our community and our world. And love you all. Hit me up with questions. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.